Getting a feel for the segment, we've brought together the 3 best-selling half-ton trucks. Can you guess what they are? If not, get ready for an all-American red, white, and blue Detroit City showdown in Canada. Sorry. Representing the suburb of Auburn Hills and FCA in this automotive melee is the Ram 1500, a style leader in the segment. Fresh off a significant mid-cycle update is a pickup that hangs its hat on capability, the pride of Dearborn Ford's esteemed F-150. Lastly, fighting for D-Town itself is General Motors' low and lean Silverado 1500. Keeping things as fair as we could, each of these trucks is a 2018 model, has 4-wheel drive, features a roomy crew cab body, and is dressed in top trim, save the Chevy, which comes to us in LTZ Z71 form, which is one step below the range-topping high country model. Starting with the oldest pickup in this trio, the Ram 1500 in limited tungsten trim. It comes to us with a window sticker right around 60 grand. Under hood, this rig features a booming 5.7-liter Hemi V8 that's good for 395 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. It's backed by an 8-speed automatic transmission. Keeping things on an even keel is a class-exclusive air suspension system. Next up, the half-ton segment's freshest offering, Ford's updated aluminum-bodied F-150 Limited. Bringing the thunder, it's hauled around by a very capable 3.5-liter Ecoboost V6 that offers 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, 2-upping the Chevy and Ram. It's also graced with a 10-speed gearbox. The richest in present company, its as-tested price is nearly $66,000. And splitting the difference between these two extremes is the jack-of-all-trades Silverado. A silken LS V8 with 5.3 liters worth of lung capacity puts out a reasonable 355 horses and 383 torques, while an 8-speed auto box sends twist to all 4 corners. Undercutting both Ram and Ford, its out-the-door price was just a few Benjamins more than 56 grand. Introduced in its current form around 2009, this Ram is getting on in years, but you'd never know it. You see, FCA has gone to great lengths to keep this truck fresh. They've continually added new features over the years, things like an available diesel engine, an 8-speed transmission, and of course, optional air suspension. But one thing that does not need changing is this Hemi engine. Smooth and strong, it's easily the best-sounding Powerplant in this comparison test. And of course, the 8-speed gearbox it's bolted to is every bit as refined and responsive. The Ram here also drives the heaviest, feeling chunky and dense, which provides good stability, though in everyday use, I do wish it were just a little bit easier going, perhaps. Still, it is plenty of fun out on the trail, where that optional adjustable air suspension system lets you lift the body a couple of inches so you don't break shit when you're bombing through the backwoods. Throw in a stylish and tastefully designed interior, and this Ram is one tough truck to beat. Inside and out, it's probably the best looking of the 3 we've got here. On road and off, this truck's rear coil springs have proven their worth, offering a creamy smooth ride and stable towing. This Ram is by far the most confident with our 7,000-pound trailer hooked to its hitch, though it does max out at just 7,750 pounds, which is the lowest here. Jumping to the F-150, I love these front bucket seats. They are recliner comfortable, they're heated and cooled, plus they offer a massaging function. I mean, how do you beat that? Now, the rest of this truck's interior is very premium and well built, but what I think really matters most is innovative technology, and one example of what Ford has done is how they've made towing as easy as a Sunday drive. With an array of sensors and cameras, just one person can hook up a trailer like that, super easy. Plus, this F-150 will even tell you if the brake lights and turn signals are properly hooked up on the trailer, which is incredibly convenient. This Ecoboost V6 is an absolute beast. It pulls like a freight train no matter what RPM it's at. And of course, the 10-speed transmission is a real gem as well. It shifts seamlessly, and if you punch it, it'll drop from, say, 9th gear to 3rd in the blink of an eye without you feeling anything. It is just so incredibly well dialed in. Overall, the powertrain in this thing is incredible, though there is one minor downside, and that is the engine sound. It's fake. What's up with that? Guess if you want something that sounds good, you get the Ram. One downside to the F-150 is a slightly jiggly ride. While off-roading, I would have appreciated just a bit more suspension compliance, and it's the same thing while towing, where sometimes it feels like the trailer is moving the truck a little bit. Of course, the trade-off for that stiffness is enhanced capability, and as equipped, this Ford right here is rated to tow up to 10,500 pounds, which is the most of our 3 trucks here. Now, there are 2 other issues worth mentioning. First of all, the optional side steps on this truck, which are super handy for reaching into that deep bed. Well, in winter driving, they got packed with snow and ice and froze solid, so they couldn't actually deploy, which is not good. Also, I've got a comment on the Pirelli tires this truck is equipped with. They're M+S rated, but they absolutely suck in winter driving. This F-150 feels like it's slipping and sliding all over the road. Finally, it's the Silverado's turn, and unfortunately, well, we're off to a bad start because I do not like this truck's driving position at all. The steering wheel feels like it's off-center. It's also at a funny angle. Plus, the pedals feel like they're in completely the wrong spot. Beyond that, there's also no keyless entry or push-button start, which has rapidly become industry standard these days. You've still got an old-fashioned metal key that you stick in the column and twist with your wrist. Another complaint I have is the interior, which is by far the most ordinary of the trio here. It's just, there's nothing special about it at all. Plus, if you look down here on the center console, there's lots of cheap plastic, and some of it rattles when you touch it. Not so nice. Even if you step up to the top trim level high country model, things don't get much better than this. Further hindering performance, this 5.3-liter V8 feels pretty lackluster. There's no oral thrill to it like you get in the Ram or instant torque as in the F-150. For serious work, I really think you're going to want to step it up to the available 6.2-liter engine. On the plus side, thanks to its more aggressive tires, the Rado here is a lot more stable in snow and ice than the F-150, and the same is true off-roading. It's got plenty of grip to get you out of some pretty sticky situations. But if you stick to the pavement, this Chevy feels lower and lighter than its rivals, by far driving the smallest of this trio, and that's always appreciated. Rated to drag up to 9,100 pounds, this truck is nonetheless the busiest while towing. Thanks to stiff springs, its back end seems to move around far more than the other trucks. At least the trailer brake control is mounted high and is easy to reach. Circling back for a moment, the Ram's sonorous V8, stable ride quality, and handsome interior are a few of its most important assets. I just wish it didn't feel so heavy. The Ford's drivetrain is a total winner, as are its front seats and innovative trailering technology. But those tires, they suck in winter driving, and the side steps froze solid. Chevy's Silverado feels the nimblest of this trio, and its trailer brake control is the best. It's also hard to argue with those clever bumper steps, which always work no matter the weather. But it's a crying shame the driving position is less than ideal, that its cabin is so low rent, and engine so winded. So after testing all of these trucks extensively, both on-road and off, it's time for me to pick a favorite, and in the process make most of you hate me, if you don't already. No, seriously, each of these rigs is amazingly capable, and they'll all do practically everything you could ever hope for. But if there's a clear least favorite for me, well, I'd say it's probably going to be the Chevrolet Silverado. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a fine truck, and it'll work hard, but this Chevy, well, it never really did anything to make me sing its praises. This means we have a 2-horse race between the Ram and F-150, and of these two trucks, I'd probably have to give the overall nod to Ford's offering, since they're check cleared first. But seriously, its Ecoboost V6 is bonkers good, that 10-speed trans is a work of art, and of course it is loaded with tons of other innovative features. That being said, the Ram is a very close second despite being so old. I love its upscale interior, smooth riding air suspension, and delicious sounding Hemi. So for today, the F-150 takes the crown, but don't forget, an all-new Ram is going to launch very soon, and you can bet your life it's going to bring some great features to market. Plus, Chevy, they're not far behind either, which just goes to show you how competitive the full-size truck segment is, especially for the Detroit 3 automakers.